Morning, everyone. So, just to recap, we're on to chapter 14 of the Dreamsnatcher. We're part way through it. Excuse me. Brunt said that they're going to force Moll to give up her name, and they brought something in, but they don't know what it is yet. And she's still down in the dungeon cellar. So, the chains clanked against the cart again. Brunt and Gobbler sloped away. They'll track anyone I want. Skull's voice twisted together with the snarls from the cart. Brunt laughed. They're baying for blood. They'll trace anything. That girl down there isn't going nowhere, Skull. Give them a scrap of her dress, then, Skull hissed. I want them to learn her sense so she never gets away. For a split second there was silence, and then a cacophony of noise, pounding feet, desperate scratching, snarling bites. It sounded as though the animals were tearing the scrap of clothing to shreds, and then it came. It was a low noise at first, braying, but then it rose louder and more chilling, and suddenly the night air was filled with the blood-curdling howls of Skull's hounds. Moll's body tingled with fear, but she shook herself and scowled in Alfie's direction. You gave him a scrap from my dress! How's that going to help us escape? Shut up and trust me. Alfie growled back. Moll seethed silently, her dark hair wild around her face like a lion's mane. Look, all I'm saying is that we have to use cunning to get us out of here. We have to go along with them, make them think we're helpless, then take a chance and run. But Moll wasn't listening. She was scrambling over the bones and feeling her way up the steps, craning her neck towards the opening. It wasn't just the hounds howling above them now. There were other noises too, voices, and Moll would recognise those voices anywhere. It's Oak, she whispered. He's come for me. Alfie leant back against the wall of the pit and shook his head. Up above, the voices became words, so comforting and strong that Moll felt she could almost touch them. Oak sounded some way away, but he was shouting, Give her up, Skull! You've no right to take her! I'm here, Oak! Here! Moll yelled through the bars of the grate. There were a few laughs and guffaws from directly above the entrance. Oak was still shouting, I've got all my men here, Skull! We've come to take her back! Moll clapped her hand over her mouth as she thought of Skull's words. We need her full name to work the curse when the time comes. Oak, no. Don't say my name. Keep my name safe. Up on the cart to the cobs, boys, then. Set the hounds on them. Skull's voice spat from above. Let's see what they can do. Moll cowered beneath the bars as the chains clanked against the cart sides and fell to the ground. The death-like cries of the hounds wailed through the deep wood, and she listened in horror as Gobbler Skull and his boys cobs rode out the clearing with them. Moll pushed against the bars of the grate, shouldering into it and pummeling it with her feet. She could hear Oak urging his men away, and then, ah! One of Oak's men was crying out in pain. Moll's mind raced. Was that Jessie, Siddy's pa? The hooves faded into the distance until once again there was a wall of silence. Anger rushed through Moll, burning up her veins, pounding in her head. She hurried down the steps and stood upright in the middle of the pit as tall as she could, and then she screamed. She screamed for Oak and Mushy, for Siddy and Griff, for her parents, for everyone she knew. She screamed and screamed until her eyes became saucers and she was blue in the face. The last of the scream wriggled out of her, bursting from her mouth, leaving her gasping for breath. And then there was silence. Afeared now? Alfie asked. Moll spat. No, I had a scream stuck inside of me, practically bursting through my skin. It was, so I got it out. But Moll was scared. She was terrified, and her palms were tickling with sweat. Alfie lit another match and glared at Moll. She held his gaze, recognizing the challenge, her face a mixture of intense concentration and absolute fury. Alfie squinted at her. What are you doing now? Rummaging through my mind for a plan. Alfie scoffed and then turned away. What will happen to Oak and everyone? Moll muttered. What will the hounds do to them? Alfie shrugged. Oak rides fast. I've seen him in the forest before 100 times. Moll blinked back fear. But the hounds, you heard them. They're monsters. No hounds shriek like that. Moll's words stopped short. Something was scratching the soil away beside the grate. And that is the end of that chapter and where I'm leaving it today. So I will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely day.